This is Bob. Bob lives on a very special island, in a tight-knit and isolated community. However, he goes through his day just like the rest of us. Going to work, enjoying the company of his friends, and living his life as he chooses. Bob's best friends are John and Mary. Together, they form a strong group, a group whose very strength comes from its diversity. Though they may have different customs and political beliefs, they all get along with each other and respect each other's right to do what they want, say what they want, and go where they want. They also understand that they have the right to be compensated for a hard day's work. They use the money they make to buy things and services. Things they need, things they want, and especially things they crave. When they buy these goods and services, they use their hard-earned money for the work they have done to pay the craftsmen and professionals of their community. It's a nice and tidy system, a system that works well for all of them. Then one day, a stranger came to Bob's town. He dressed, acted, and talked much differently. The stranger had some bizarre ideas about how things should be run in Bob's town. The stranger didn't like the duality of the island. He thought everyone should dress and act the same. What's more, he did not think people should keep the money they rightfully earned from their hard work. No, everyone should work for the good of the community. People shouldn't be allowed to buy what they want. He went to them one by one, beginning with John. Oh, hey! Come in, come in, come in! The stranger was impatient and did not wait until John was comfortable before, in a raspy voice, he said, "Things should be different here. The community is not working efficiently or fairly for all its members." John was taken aback by this. The stranger went on to condemn everything that John held dear, his freedom, his wealth, and his community. John, who was a very prideful person, could not accept the stranger's brash declarations and firmly, but politely, told him to leave. The stranger was despondent. He had failed, and he had failed spectacularly. However, he knew that this was his first try, and he believed he would do better the next time. He thought it over, and he decided to approach Mary next. The stranger was more beguiling this time. He tried his hardest to be polite, and waited until after the proper salutations were said, before asking Mary how she felt about the community. She replied, "I love the community." The stranger replied, "I understand. I've only been here a few days, but I'm already beginning to love the community as well. I love the people and their eternal optimism, but I almost feel that there is a fly in the ointment." He then said that the peace and the harmony of the community was very fragile. All it would take would be one person to get greedy, amass the means of production, which Mary had never heard of before, and then this person would have the island by the balls. Mary was cynical at first and could only laugh in denial. However, as he continued with his objections, the stranger knew that Mary was now full of doubts. She doubted the assumed benevolence of the community. She doubted that people should be paid wages based on the method of supply and demand, like the stranger said. Her beliefs were more stirred up than the scrambled eggs she had served him, and the stranger left Mary's room quite pleased by his performance. The stranger was supremely confident now and marched straight over to Bob's room, believing he could easily convince Bob. Bob welcomed the stranger, just like his friends had done before. The stranger was at his most downright conniving, convincing, and deceiving. He schmoozed the pants off Bob and got him to believe in his heart that a collectivist society, where everyone was paid equal wages, was God's own plan. Bob began to feel selfish. His own hard work had contributed to his happiness, but what about everyone else? The stranger left the room so smug and delighted in himself that he ran into someone on the way back to his domicile. Bob, John, and Mary were totally consumed by the stranger's thoughts. While they attempted to work, their daily routines now seemed impossible. John kept thinking of the stranger's ideas, and they made him angrier and angrier. Mary thought about the stranger's ideas and became more confused and conflicted. Bob thought about his ideas and became more convinced and determined. After work, they met to hang out as they did every day. It didn't take long before Mary mentioned the stranger and his new ideas and how much they had been occupying her at work. John quickly said that the ideas had taken over his mind too, and they were all troubling and infuriating him. Bob said he rather likes the stranger's ideas. Pretty soon, a real argument emerges, the type of argument that never happened before. Things begin to escalate and get out of hand, until Mary steps in and breaks up the fight. Clearly, all was not well on the island. The stranger's ideas had completely engulfed Bob and John. It was left to Mary to realize the madness in all of this. She realized that their island utopia was on the verge of civil war. She realized that she needed to convince Bob and John to forget their stranger's ideas for the good of their community. Reunited, the group of friends saw the final step. They knew that they must confront the stranger and get him to stop spewing hate, or they must get him to leave the island. They cautiously approached his room. The three began to talk to the stranger and let him know that the jig was up. They said that they knew what he was about. They told him that their island is a paradise, that society functions almost perfectly. There is no place for your ideas on this island, they told him. The stranger broke down. He had wanted to fight for a new order to be born under his command, but now he was not sure. He had no desire of accomplishing his goal, and was finally ready to give up the fight. The group looked on the pitiful sight of the stranger, and their hearts softened. They lost all their determination, their resolve of banishing him from the island, and really felt his pain. The stranger, seeing the treats the group was offering, felt a surge of joy, the type of pure happiness he hadn't felt since he was a child. He smiled, and embraced the group, and agreed to abandon his crazy beliefs, and to join the island society. He wasn't a stranger anymore. He was one of them.